He remembers the exact moment he clicked confirm. It wasn't emotional. It wasn't reckless. It actually felt responsible. The dealership was bright, clean, controlled. Everything designed to remove uncertainty, not create it. The salesperson had already done most of the talking. The numbers looked stable on paper. Monthly payment, manageable. Insurance, expected. Nothing outside the boundaries of what already felt familiar. So he signed. No hesitation.
And that's the part that matters most. Because most financial decisions don't feel like decisions when they happen. They feel like updates, a slightly better version of life, a more comfortable setting, a reasonable improvement that fits who you already are. Nothing about it feels directional, but everything about it is. 4 years later, nothing dramatic has happened. The car still works. The payments still leave his account on schedule. Life continues. But something is different now. Not regret, not pressure, just distance. He no longer sees the decision as good or bad. He sees it as a snapshot of a version of life that stopped evolving. At the time, it never felt like a fork in the road, but that's exactly what it was. Because financial decisions don't just describe your present, they quietly extend into your future. Most people miss this completely. They assume financial risk comes from big mistakes, overspending, emotional purchases, poor discipline. But that's not how real life works.
Real life changes through accumulation, not events. Small adjustments that feel harmless in isolation, but build something permanent in the background. The first months after the purchase are invisible. Nothing feels different. The car feels new. The payment feels normal. Life continues without friction. But outside of that decision, everything else starts shifting. Not dramatically, just consistently. Rent adjusts upward. A new subscription becomes normal. Small lifestyle upgrades stop being noticed at all. Each change is rational on its own, but none of them undo what was already fixed. One part of life becomes locked in place. Everything else stays flexible. That imbalance doesn't feel urgent until enough time passes for it to become visible. By the 3rd year, the effect is no longer theoretical. It shows up in contrast. The same payment that once blended into life now competes with new priorities. Not because it increased, but because everything around it expanded. New conversations start appearing in his environment. Investing, savings goals, flexibility. The ability to make decisions without checking consequences first. And slowly, a subtle realization forms. A portion of his life is already pre-allocated before he even makes a choice. Not by crisis, but by commitment. Then comes the comparison that shifts everything. He meets people who earn less, but move differently. Their decisions are lighter. Their schedules are adjustable. Their choices aren't filtered through fixed obligations. And that becomes the real difference. Not income. Not status, but optionality. The space between what you earn and what is already spoken for. That space determines how free your decisions actually are. When he made the decision, he wasn't thinking in duration. He was thinking in alignment. Does this fit my life right now? Does this feel reasonable right now? But right now is always temporary, and commitments are not. They continue forward silently, regardless of how life changes around them. So what once felt aligned slowly becomes misaligned. Not because anything went wrong, but because life kept updating itself, while one decision remained frozen in time. Years later, The car is still there, still functioning, still paid for, still ordinary. But its meaning has shifted completely. It's no longer a purchase. It's a record of how quickly life moves past the decisions that once felt permanent. When he thinks about it now, he doesn't measure it in cost. He measures it in what was removed. Options that no longer exist. Flexibility that was quietly reduced. Future versions of life that never got a chance to form. And that's the part that stays. Not regret. Just awareness of something most people only see in hindsight. Some decisions don't end when you make them. They continue shaping the boundaries of your life long after you've stopped noticing they're still there.